Well, good evening. We'll do a little quick mic check here. Check test 1 2 1 2. I think everything should be working. Maybe.
Well, good evening.
Sounds great. Okay, so hi everybody. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I did. It was fun. I went fishing. And it's been I need to check email because I've heard some emails pop in. I just want to make sure that, okay, that's actually me. Okay, cool. So yeah, had a good week. Let's see. To catch things up, you might catch the side of my nose. Let's see. I guess it's probably right there. I don't know if I get some light on it. Anyway, I had a thing removed. Yeah, I don't have good light tonight for some reason. Bet that camera is set up to have low light turned off. Just a minute. Let's see. Maybe I need to hang on here. Let me see if I can. Oops, let's see. I think that's this. Oh, we got a little technical issue here. Just a minute, folks. Working on it. There we go. All right. That looks a little better. Although now I have rings in my eyes. I think I must have a camera. I do have a camera issue. I see exactly what happened. I've been, thanks Tom. I've been recording, working on the truck camper a little bit, and I've got the other camera, which was the camera that's normally here, on a tripod. So anyway, good evening. I hope everybody had a good week. Yeah, so if you might notice this, I had a thing removed from my nose. They're not sure what it was. But they just, took it out. And then, let's see, last week I had basically some oral surgery done on my jaw up here. And so I wasn't feeling really good last Thursday. So other than that, I hope everybody had a good week. Wow, it's already the middle of July. Where is summer going? We didn't have hardly any summer here, and now it's supposed to be 100 this weekend. But I was going to ask Gary D., who's down there in Arizona, how the 120-degree temperatures have been down his way. Let's go over to the chat and see who all's here tonight. Gary, George, a.k.a. Dad, who is in the middle of putting some flooring in his rig, or been exchanging some emails. Let's see, Tom Downey checking in. Oh, Gary mentioned that Lion Energy has 5-volt USB solar panels on sale cheap, not bad for charging phones or battery lights, battery fans, or small battery banks. Huh? Okay. 18 by 14 panel. You gave the open volts, but you didn't give. Did they tell you how many amps it puts out? Question mark on that panel. Gary was mentioning a panel from Lion Energy that is on sale, 5-volt. So just curious, did they mention how many amps it puts out? Tom Downey was asking how difficult is it to change shoe brakes to disc brakes on my Spartan chassis. And I wasn't sure that you could even do it, but his book on the axles shows both. Are you talking the rear axle or the front axle, Tom? The rear axle, I'd be surprised. The front axle, I wouldn't be surprised, because at least on my rig, I had a third-party front axle underneath mine, and I don't recall the name of it. But anyway, George says check with chassis manufacturer. Yeah, that'd be a good place to start. I bet you it'd be hella expensive, and I'm not sure. Do they have air disc brakes? I'm sure they probably do. It's just not something I'm aware of. Oh, and he says, okay, so we're reading on. Stopping distances increased. Hi, Judy Kimbrough. So glad you could make it tonight. And the adjusters are bottomed out. Well, it sounds like you need new brakes. Judy White checking in. Hi, Judy. I did get your loving husband's email, and I think we're working out the details on that for some gas struts replacement on your awnings. And I did find some. Just got to verify a couple things, but I did send an email. Gary, 112 today, 114 the other day. Yeah, Scotty's checking in. Hi, Scotty. Good to see you tonight. Tom says, been 65, 75 all week, no rain. Yeah. Oh, 4 amps output. No, that's not bad. 5 volts at 4 amps. What is that, 20 watts? Oh, front. Okay, well then it might be possible because I know that on my 04 it had an aftermarket front axle under it. I don't recall the name of it. But anyway, let us know. But I bet it's going to be expensive. I'll bet it's going to be expensive. Okay, so I kind of just dragging my feet here a little bit. Is this potpourri tonight? We're just going to chat because we'll be back to normal next Tuesday. I'll be back at 7 p.m. Mountain Time with something really special. I teased everybody a couple weeks ago that I was working on an update to my holding tank maintenance strategy and video, and I have completed that. I'm on the last little stages of twiddling and twinking a little bit with it, but what I would like to do, hi Paul, is invite all of you who are my normal regular viewers, give you a little bonus to get a sneak preview of the video. I was thinking I would do it Saturday or Sunday, preferably earlier in the day if it's convenient for you. Saturday or Sunday morning, wink wink, would be great. Thanks, Paul. Hi, Kevin. Good to see you. So here's the drill. I'm going to do a private showing of the video, and then we'll have a live stream directly after it. This won't be public, it's totally private. I will have to email you a link. And so to that end, yeah, mine too, Tom. To that end, I'd like to request that if you would like to participate in the pre-premiere, the sneak preview, I guess it is, and then hang around for 20 or 30 minutes after and give me some feedback on it. Tell me what you like and you don't like, what makes sense and what doesn't. I think it's outstanding. I've been working on it for quite a while now. A whole bunch of new animations in it, and kind of completely changed my strategy on the video. It's all about solutions. There's not a lot of science in it. Anyway, email me, trbolin@gmail.com. Hang on here, I gotta clear my throat. And let me know that you would like to attend. Right now, I'm thinking maybe Sunday at what would be 8 Mountain. So that would be early morning Sunday for most, I think, since we've got pretty much East Coast to West Coast time zone covered. But I know a lot of you guys are probably like me and you're up early. Kevin says he'll be out for the weekend. That's unfortunate. Love to have you there, but I totally get it. Anyway, if you'll email me, with your email address. I will send you the private link. That will go tomorrow. I'll finish that all up tomorrow afternoon and email it to you, and then we'll get together privately Sunday morning, only available through the link that I'll be emailing you. And we'll get together Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain, and the video's 29 minutes long, and then we'll spend another 30 minutes just kind of chatting about it, and you can kind of give me some feedback. And then it will premiere sometime next week. I'm actually considering, YouTube has this feature where you can do a video and then follow it up immediately with a live stream right after the video, and somehow you're linked from the video to the live stream. And so I'm going to experiment with that a little bit and figure out how that works, and I might do that. So I might, when I finally premiere it, which will be next week sometime, do that, and then a follow-up live stream right after the video premieres next week, rather than doing it, well, and I might even do it as a premiere, where that's not where I would be live on camera after the video, but when I've done premieres before, we're just interacting via the chat. So anyway, that's kind of where I think I'm going with that. But let's actually, if the weekend isn't good, then I could do it Monday too. I'm flexible, so in your email, just shoot me what day you would prefer, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I'll try to accommodate as many folks as I can, and I would greatly appreciate your feedback. But yeah, I think it's quite good, if I do say so myself, and I do. So if you don't have questions, mine is too, Tom. I was just thinking, I imagine in that era, the early 2000 Newmars, before they went to the Comfort Steer, which isn't a Freightliner product or a Spartan product, that's done by a different manufacturer, probably the manufacturer that built the front ends. But anyway, I'd be curious to know about that. Hi, Tim. Scotty is on travel. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Glad you guys are out and about. I wish I was out and away from this heat right now that we're expecting. But I will have to say that despite my being cheap and not putting out $10,000 for a new furnace 2 years ago, when all I needed was air conditioning, so I went and bought a couple window units, and one of them's keeping my house cool right now, and it's been finally into the 90s, so that's good. But yeah, so if you have RV questions, related questions, go ahead and post them. If you just want to ask a question or say hey or something, let us know you're watching and where you're watching from. Otherwise, this will be a pretty short one tonight, which is probably just fine, since we'll be back in 5 days anyway, or 4 days, whatever it is. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so that's all fingers. So yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday, and I might have a chance to put together some content. I had some questions. Sorry, I was outside working all day, and it was hot and dry, and I probably am dehydrated. So I'm full of gunk. Let's see. Kevin says he got a price on a tow bar and installation, had a heart attack, and decided don't need to tow the pickup. Well, Kevin, what were you getting? I'm sure we probably talked about this, but these gray hairs are sucking all of my brain cells right out of my head. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was 5,000 to 6,000. And I'm just guessing. To be honest with you, the guy that I sold my Class A to, I put the tow bar on his Gladiator. He bought a brand new 21 Jeep Gladiator to tow behind it, and 5100. Okay, so yeah, that's about what I thought. And I put that tow bar on and put the Invisibrake braking system in a day and a half, and I really struggled with some of the body parts on the Gladiator, getting them back and getting them to fit correctly, after it was taken apart. It was quite the challenge. Kevin, on the parts on that, you're probably looking at about, well, was that with the braking system or was that just with the tow bar? Question mark. Tom says, I have an old tow bar you can have free. Yeah, is it a Blue Ox tow bar, Tom, or something else? Because I still have my Subaru that I can tow for down, but I sold my tow bar with the RV. Hang on here, I'm just checking to see how hot this camera is. Sorry, you get to see my hand real close. Yeah, Kevin, was that with a braking system? Paul White says, any advice on soft start units for AC? Which do you consider the best? I just installed an RV Solutions unit that was difficult to install due to poor instructions. Thoughts, pros, and cons. Okay, we'll get to you in a minute, Kevin. Okay, so soft start. Soft start on your AC really are only necessary if you're, sometimes on the generator they recommend that you run soft starts, but on my generator on my Class A, I didn't have soft starts on mine, and they worked just fine on the Jenny. I could run both of them off the generator. Now, as far as soft starts in general go, I think they're great. If you're going to be trying to run AC, particularly off solar or through an inverter for some reason or another, soft starts, basically all a soft start is that inside the compressor, the motor, we've talked about this before, but I'll bring it up so that we can make sure we're all on the same page. When you start an electric motor, like a compressor, there's a lot of mass there, there's a lot of weight there, and it takes a lot of energy to get that weight moving. Once it gets moving, then the amount of energy required drops off. Now, the length that this energy lasts, the period that it lasts, sucking a lot of power, is only a couple milliseconds. And inside of these, in most electrical equipment, like like air compressor or air conditioners, I'll get it out, have capacitors in them, motor starting capacitors, to take that load off the incoming line power. When that motor starts, that capacitor provides an extra surge of current to help get that mass moving in the engine, in the motor, okay, the electric motor. All a soft start is a bigger capacitor. All right, and so it takes that couple millisecond sag of power where it draws quite a few amps and turns it into pulls it from a second capacitor bank is basically what it is, and so basically the soft starts are just an addition. They just add starting capacity to that electric motor is what it does. So a lot of times on inverters, particularly on inverters, you can get into an issue because even an inverter is much more sensitive to larger sags in voltage and high current spikes. So it's very common when you're trying to run, when I say inverter, I mean you're either running on batteries or solar some way, okay? They'll trip off because the amount of current, even with the capacitors, the stock capacitors, is more than the inverter can supply for the length of time that it can supply, because it would be, we're talking maybe 20, 30 amps. It doesn't last long enough for a circuit breaker to trip, but it will last long enough to cause the inverter to shut down because it thinks it's overloaded. And so that will stop the air compressor, the compressor on the air conditioner, anything like that, any kind of something with a motor from working or starting properly. So that's why they do the soft starts. It makes it easier on equipment. Let's see. Fantastic Dreamer, hi. We want to take a vacation, our Class A, but we're new to the RV. We need to drive across the desert, and it's been 111 here. When we are driving across town, it gets too hot inside the rig. It's a gas, not a diesel. Okay. You have a Class A. You've got a generator. Run the generator. I'm assuming you've got a generator. If you've got a Class A, you should have a generator. Just run your generator and run your AC units. A lot of people do that. No problem. I think that's, there would be times when I would be driving through very hot climates, and I would just start my generator and I would just turn the AC on. Both my ACs, I could run off my generator. I don't know what your rig is. Gas, diesel, doesn't really matter. But yeah, I would just start your generator and run both ACs. Should be fine. I wouldn't worry about it overheating. You're going to want to watch your temperatures, of course, but I'm assuming if you're driving across the desert, deserts tend to be pretty flat. They're not rolling or climbing hills like we are out here in Idaho. So yeah, I would just start the generator and kick the AC on and go. Kevin Coop says, ready Brute Elite 2. Okay, so that was for brake included. Okay. Yeah, well, the reason I ask is that 5100 I would think would be about what you would expect to pay for the tow bar base plate, the tow bar itself, the braking system, and the wiring harness to wire up the lights on the rig, on the towed vehicle, towed as we call them, TOAD. So I think your parts on that are probably going to be around probably around at least 3,000, and then you're paying 2,100 for it to be installed. You can do it yourself. I did it on that Jeep Gladiator, and like I say, it took about a day and a half to do the brake system, the tow bar base plate, and everything. I'll be right back to you, Fantastic. Paul White, yeah, totally. That's a good reason. That will help with the 20 amp. So when you say 20 amp, you're on an extension cord, probably. And people don't like to hear generators. I hear you, for sure. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, George, for Fantastic. Run genset and one rooftop AC. Use reflectic in the windows that are not in driver's view and close up the back of the rig. Yeah, all good advice. We'll get back to it. Okay, so I got it. Okay, we're gonna roll back on that. Parts 3,800. Ooh, that's That seems like a lot. We'll talk about that in a minute. Kevin Coop says his understanding of soft start was that it turned the power off and on very fast, so that it was only on half the time. Well, I don't know how that would reduce the surge current going to, from the inrush current, I should call it, which is the technical term for it. And turn the power off and on. I don't get that. Huh. Okay, interesting. Gary, yeah, it would. Gary says his AC starts better on his little Honda generator with the soft start. Absolutely. The soft start basically is just built to pick up the excess load when you're running, or the excess starting load, which can be double. The 13 to 15 amps is about what the average 13,500 BTU air conditioner will pull at 110. George, aka Dad, says Liz Amazing has a video about installing a clear solar coating on the windshield. She claims it made a huge difference in the heat coming through the windshield. Huh. Interesting. Okay, fantastic. She says it doesn't cool down. And then following up, the AC works great in the cooler climates and when we are plugged in. So when you're on the generator, it doesn't cool down. All right. Well, that's a little bit trickier, and that tells me okay, what rig do you have, and do you know how big your generator is? First off, what year, make, and model of rig do you have, your Class A? And we'll see what we can do. Let's see if we can maybe figure this out. My guess is, this is just a guess, all right, is that they don't have it wired. They don't have the rig wired to run anything over 85. I see. So what we've got is weak ACs. I gotcha. Okay, so they're cooling, but when the outside temperature gets above 85, you get no love from them, right? They won't cool off. All right, two things. First off, get on the roof, pull the fairings off. Okay, well, first off, let's back up. On my channel, there is a video about maintaining your AC. In that video, I go through how to clean out the coils. Okay, now if you've never cleaned them, depending upon how old your rig is, they could be really, really dirty. And that can really reduce the efficiency of how well that AC works. That video, it's about 8 or 9 minutes long. I'll go see if, while I'm sitting here chatting about it, that I can go find a link for you and post it so you don't have to go searching. But let's see. Here it is. I'll have it for you in a minute. Just a second. Come on. Look at that. Copy that. All right, so fantastic. 2015 Windsport. Okay. Fantastic. The link I just posted is to a video on my channel on how to maintain your AC units. It's as simple as using either an air compressor, or you'll note in this case I was doing it at RV Park. I didn't have an air compressor. I just bought some canned air. They make stuff that you can spray on that will help it wash off, but I don't recommend that you go at your rooftop air conditioner with a hose, because oftentimes the ducts are open and you'll end up with water down inside the rig, and that's not something you want to have happen. So anyway, you might want to watch that video. You might want to get up on the roof, carefully remove the shroud, that's the covering, the fairing as they call it sometimes, over the AC unit, and look at your coils and see how dirty and nasty the coils are and how much dirt and dust. And you might have wasp nests in there, you might have any kind of thing in there. You may have stuff that got sucked up in there just from running down the road. But yeah, and it's not difficult to do, right? It's not difficult at all to get up and clean those. And so I think I might start with that. Because then the next option that we have to talk about is replacing them, and that gets expensive. Assuming they're probably 13,500 BTUs, you're into either somewhere between probably $700 and $1,200 a unit to replace them. And especially where they will cool, but not anything over 85. I would get up on the roof and I would watch that video, get up there and blow out those coils as best you can, either with an air compressor or get some canned air. And then see what you get. If you've had it since it was brand new and the air conditioners have never been cleaned, then I guarantee the coils and stuff need to be cleaned out, and it will make a huge difference to improve the airflow across those coils. Paul White says, any thoughts on restricting the airflow in the AC using open cell foam barriers on the roof unit to force air better through the coil, especially in hot weather? I heard it can make a big difference. Yeah, I wonder, it sounds logical, Paul, but here's my take on it. The AC manufacturers, common ones, let's say Dometic and whoever else is out there, Lippert, okay, I think they both make AC units. There's probably others. If there were improvements to be made to the AC units so that they would work better, I would think they would do it. Now, we had a discussion, I guess it was probably this spring, wasn't it, folks? With a fellow that came in and, what was that called? Air Force? Oh, well. Anyway, there's some commercial product out there that does something similar, but I think what it does is it changes the airflow inside the AC. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, here's my take on it. I'm of the opinion that the manufacturers have built and engineered that air conditioning unit to work well without having to make major changes, adding ducts and banks and foam or whatever. I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying this is a good, bad, or a bad idea. There may be people out there that have done it. But I really don't think that it's probably necessary, is really what I'm trying to say. I think they're pretty well built. I think that the engineering is such that if you start to monkey around with things too much, then you're going to change the way the airflow is in the system. And although you may be pushing a little bit more air across the coils, thanks, Tim, that air may be needed somewhere else inside of that rooftop unit to cool something else, like the motor. So my take is it might work, and there may be guys out there that say it makes a big difference. I guess I'm going to say I'm from Missouri, show me. I'd be interested in watching the video for sure. So if you want to post a link, well, that's the thing. I have things locked down here, so you can't post a link, but you can email it to me. Tim can, because Tim's an administrator, but the average viewer can't. Joni Portward checking in. Hi, Joni. So glad to see you make it in tonight. Where are you at? Okay, going back, circling back here, we got onto the AC. Base plate is not that tough. The brake systems can be. Yeah, I paid under $300. Yeah, from eBay for all my Toad stuff. Interesting. Kevin Coop, parts 3,800. Okay, yeah, so that's kind of where I think you should be. That sounds a little high. I think that if you were to buy the full-on Blue Ox base plate and tow bar, you're probably into it for 1,500. Then you've got the braking system, the Invisibrake, the one that I like from Roadmaster, is about 900, so we're at 24. And then you've got the cable setup. We'll just say we'll throw that in at 100, because $100 sounds pretty normal for about anything now. Interesting, yeah. So I wonder, that parts sound a little expensive, but you may be also paying retail, and I'm paying best internet price basically. Tom says he ran 2 ACs off his gen set all the time. I did too, Tom. All right. I'm catching up on the comments here. We installed a plastic bag over the duct and washed the hell out of it. Yeah, that can work. I try to be really careful, because the way those are built, I don't know if Fantastic is still out there, but the way those are built, oftentimes in the Class A's, there's a duct in the ceiling, okay? And so it ducts the air down the length of the RV. And usually that's an open hole in the ceiling on the cooling side of the AC unit. And that's where the cooling coils are. They're all around, but they're right there. And so getting water up there, unless you are pretty capable of covering the hole and making sure you got no water going down in your ducts. I mean, water is and that is the definitive answer, is to get up there with some of that spray stuff that softens the gunk and then blow it off with water. Time for a cheap commercial. If you like what you're seeing, give me that thumbs up. I always appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Ring the notification bell. We'll be getting back on the horse here and publishing pretty more regularly. Just a reminder is that we'll be back to normal Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time streams. I learned a lot at the TIG welding class. It was very interesting. I can't wait to get some medals and get working on it. Visit over to my website. It's always welcomed at trbullen.com. You can support the channel by using the link to Amazon in the video description. That'll take you to my Amazon store. You can depart from there, go anywhere on Amazon, purchase what you'd like. I'll get a small commission, but you'll pay the same price. Thank you so much for watching. Boy, I'm sure clogged up tonight. Okay. Fantastic Dreamer. She says, oh, thank you. I'll try that. And thank you, George. Perfect. Yeah. So if you think of it, come back and let us know what you find. But I bet you find that it's pretty dirty up there. And I bet you if you blow them out, you might get to 95. And if you're camping at 95, you need to go higher. You find some altitude, get some cooler temperatures. Tim says, it's interesting. The video on his phone is running about 30 seconds ahead of the stream on his laptop. That's not that surprising. But that's interesting. Gary D says he tried the airflow thing, kind of on the fence. Kevin Coop says all those that got those AC improvement foam product free, they work great. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so that says a lot right there. Paul White says, I got the tip from a Coleman Mac AC. My unit is 8 years old and have no service bulletins from Winnebago. I will research some more things. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it's good or bad, okay? I didn't do it on mine. I think that those units are engineered for airflow in certain places, and that airflow is not only passing through the coils, but it's also passing through and around the motor and all the other parts. Well, motor is really the only moving part, and compressor, I should say. And so I'd be curious to follow up on that and find out. Kevin Coop says the Blue Ox base plate was $750. Tim, it was basically Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I was going to go ahead and lean towards Monday because a lot of folks might be out camping this weekend. So it would be Monday. We could do it Monday evening. Yeah, we could do it Monday evening. Let me think on this for a minute. And if you're interested, folks, please do send me that email right now. And we'll do a quick poll at the end of the video stream here and kind of come up with a date. So yeah, kick me an email real quick if you think about it. If you have time, if you don't right now, that's fine. But if you want to attend, please send an email. And again, this will be private. It won't be public on YouTube. You won't be able to find the link on YouTube. The only way you'll be able to find the link is if I send it to you. I want to just read this again because it really makes a lot of sense, and it's going to get me off of my high horse for a minute here, but that's the way it works. All those that got those AC improvement foam products free, they worked great. That's the thing with product reviews. There are a couple of RV channels out there. I won't mention them, but they are the biggest. They're always peddling something. And you know damn well they're just doing it because they got paid. A lot of times I turn down product reviews every day. When I was just looking at my email, I had one come in here. We'd like to work with you. They're, they might want you to demonstrate their kaleidoscope. It's a $3 kaleidoscope. They want you to give them a video on it. It's like, forget it. I don't do product review video. Well, I do product review videos, but I don't do promotional videos unless I'm very convinced and sure that the part is good. And if it's not good, I'm going to tell you. Tom Downey, here's new dash cams installed, a working TV stereo camera, all working great. What did you get, Tom? What unit did you get? Question mark. Gary, what really helped me was sunscreen. He says, yeah, now I have side cameras, both sides. That's cool. Yeah, I did. I put side cameras, and I don't know. I don't have a picture of that handy. But I did side cameras on mine when I changed out my system. But I just replaced this standalone screen with a screen capable of working with 4 cameras. And that's how I ended up doing it. Thanks, Gary. Good night. See you later. We're 7:45. Open to any questions you might have. Go ahead and throw them in. We're going to otherwise wrap things up here in just a few minutes. So overall, how was the quality tonight of the stream? It looks like we've been holding pretty good. It should be a 4K quality stream. At least it looks like it should. I've been tweaking and tuning a little bit on some things after 2 weeks ago's disaster. So I've been trying to make sure that we don't have that happen again. Tom says it was a Pioneer stowaway. Interesting. Okay, cool. Save that for future reference. Quality is excellent. Thank you, Judy. All right, so one last round. Go ahead and throw a comment over there. I know there's a fair amount of latency. There could be up to 2 minutes or so of latency, depending upon, like Tim was saying, on his phone, he was, his laptop was 30 seconds behind his phone. Tim says better once I jumped off 480. Yeah, there's that. Tom says it's better. Quality was excellent. Thanks, Judy. Fantastic Dreamer. Last question. Are you supposed to drive with propane running for your fridge? Is it really that dangerous? What's the deal with tunnels? All right. It's not that dangerous. But what can happen is that in a tunnel, a propane tank is, and it varies. I'm thinking of what's the tunnel at Norfolk? The Chesapeake Bay Tunnel. I've been through that a couple times in my Class A. And they inspect you, and they make sure that you turned your gas off. I think it's just a big fire hazard, and they don't want a fire in a 12-mile-long tunnel. The second thing is, yeah, it's safe. I would drive down the road when I had a dual fuel fridge all the time with my gas on. And sometimes when it was really cold, the opposite problem of you were having. But there was many a time that I would be in January, and I remember one time I was driving from Idaho in January to Virginia for a contract I had to take care of. And I was running the heater, the furnace, because the heat on the chassis wasn't keeping it warm, probably because it was 0 degrees outside. But I ran the furnace, and so yeah, it's perfectly safe to run your rig down the road with the gas on, except through tunnels. And that's not always the case, but on long tunnels. Like up on 70 going through Eisenhower Tunnel, you don't have to deal with gas. So I think it has to do with the length of the tunnel. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Round Town. Oh, by the way, Round Town, I see you're in Michigan. I missed your comment. I saw your comment earlier. It just never made it to my lips. You're avoiding all the heat, huh? You're up there in the UP. You're up in Michigan where it's only 90 degrees and 90% humidity. Instead of 110 and 5% humidity down in New Mexico. Kevin Coop, one more comment and got asked not to view? Huh? I'm not sure what am I missing something here? Paul White asks, can you retrofit your existing propane tank, or is it more advisable to replace with new? Well, it depends on how rusty your tank is. If it's really rusty, and I'm assuming that we're talking about a chassis mounted tank, not the ones that sit in the front, not the 25, 40 pound cylinders, that you would find in, like on a travel trailer, but like on a Class C, some Class Bs and Class As, they have a DOT tank, okay? So Department of Transportation is usually mounted somewhere on the frame. It's up and out of the way. And if it's badly rusted, depends on how deeply rusted it is, because that tank holds pressure. So but any good propane company, Amerigas, Blue Flame, there's a couple others, Amerigas comes to mind, but go to a gas propane company Don't go to the co-op or don't go to the truck stop. Those guys fill tanks. That's all they know. Go to a gas company, a propane company, and let them look at it. You can get them. You can replace those tanks. I considered replacing the one in my Class A, but decided I could, restore it, I clean it out basically. Clean it up and paint it. Yeah, it's chassis mounted. Okay. Yeah, you can clean them up and paint them. And as long as there's no real deep, rust spots in it, then you're fine. You should be just fine. But yeah, you can, starts with an M, a company that makes propane tanks. Escapes Manchester. They're a real common company that makes propane tanks, and you can buy them. They're expensive though. The DOT tanks are expensive. I know that I was looking at replacing mine, and I think it was around $600. That would have been in 2016 when I was considering doing that. But yeah, I just cleaned it up really good and wire brushed it down, and then treated it with some rust stabilizer, and then spray painted it with some white paint. All right, 7:52. Last call for questions. Any questions or comments out there? All right. Then I think we'll tie her up for tonight. We will see you again Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, when we're back to our normal routine. And then those that would be interested, and if I don't get enough interest, I'll just email back to those that do email and say that we're not going to do it. So I want 3 or 4 folks. Let's see here. It looks like I got a few. Okay. All right. Well, we got a few here, so we'll those that email me will hear from me tomorrow afternoon. With either the link or say the thanks for offering, but we'll do it some other time. I would like to get 10 or 12 people at least. All right. Thanks, Tom. Cass City, Michigan is where Roundtown Scouter is. Judy, thank you so much. Yes, we're back to normal starting Tuesday. Okay, Tom says the venting the tunnel is the biggie. Yeah. When you got a 12-mile tunnel underwater, I don't know how long it is, I'm just speaking, but long tunnels are really hard to ventilate, especially ones underwater, because you really can't pop up in the middle of Chesapeake Bay with an air vent. So that's probably what it is. Fantastic. It's just the length of the tunnel. Because like the Eisenhower Tunnel, I've been through a lot of tunnels, and Eisenhower on I-70, westbound out of Denver, headed towards Utah. There's no restrictions on it. Okay, we'll call her good. Thanks, Judy. Good night, Tom, Tim, Paul, fantastic, Judy, Round Town, everybody else. I will see you Tuesday. Good night.